as the first Latina ever elected to the state legislature in the history of Nevada. I felt like probably so many other people in this country that we could make a difference. I thought I came here to fight against people who were not aligned on our policies, and I thought those people had an R behind their name. And it turns out, more often than not, those people had a D after their name.
The members will proceed to the front desk and subscribe the official oath.
Assemblywoman Flores.
Lucy Flores has fought against establishment pressure for her entire political career, both from within and outside of the Democratic Party. That was still true in 2016, when Flores ran for Congress in Nevada on promises of stronger public education, immigration reform, and economic and bodily autonomy for women.
Women didn't always have these rights. We must continue to fight. We must continue to work towards progress. And we can't ever let anyone take us back to those times.
2016, it was an absolutely terrible year for Democrats. One of the seats that we had unexpectedly lost in 2014 was a congressional seat where I grew up, partially represented in the Nevada legislature. So it just made a lot of sense for me to try to run for that seat.
This is about economic empowerment. This is the ability for women to make choices about their own lives and the future of their own lives, and frankly, the ability to plan their families as they see fit.
Bernie Sanders endorsed her, but her primary opponents, Ruben Kihuen and Susie Lee, were the clear establishment favorites. Flores lost the primary to former State Senator Kihuen.
That is the beauty of America. That is the American dream.
In November, he won the general.
I never felt like I was truly getting traction. The commercials literally featured Harry Reid and had Bill Clinton's face on this mailer. I wasn't running against one person. I was running against this political machine. Emily's List very famously decided to endorse this very rich white woman who had no political background whatsoever, who was actually writing herself checks. Even though I had this background of very aggressively advocating for reproductive rights and reproductive justice, they decided to endorse her over me. It's just kind of one hypocrisy after the other.
Even though she lost, Flores has managed to push progressives farther left by calling out hypocrisy within the Democratic Party, particularly by men who abuse their power.
Running against former Congressman Kihuen was really frustrating. He had a reputation for being very grabby, being very inappropriate, especially with young women, and yet people were unwilling to speak up. I never knew that he was going so far past the line that he was actually sexually harassing, but it was certainly not a surprise.
2 years after Kihuen won, a House Ethics Committee found that he'd sexually harassed 2 women with unwanted touching and sexual propositions.
What I personally witnessed are many times in which he was inappropriately too close to, in particular, young women. There was always this, kind of like, oh, it's just Ruben being Ruben. And so part of this is finally women stepping up and saying, no, that's actually inappropriate behavior.
In March, Flores came forward with her own experience by then Vice President Joe Biden.
Women, regardless of what happens to us, we just keep going. And that's what I did. And over the years, I just continued to really process it. And really, as I saw him doing that with other women, as it wasn't being taken seriously by the media, you're just like, wow, are we that insignificant? Do we have such little meaning that men can literally touch us and invade our space and it's no big deal?
Flores' impact is about more than just policy. It's about power.
I am not normally known as the voice of reason, but I have been singled out as the voice of reason, so that is cause for celebration for me.
The advocacy that I've been able to do, whether it's as an entrepreneur and in digital media, or whether it's through my work with the Democratic National Committee, all of that put together has allowed me to continue advocating for my community and for issues that I really care about in ways that don't require an elected title. I have seen enormous change and enormous progress for women, and certainly women of color. And it's those little cracks in the dam. And we're gonna get to the point where it just splits wide open and all of us are gonna come pouring through, and it's gonna be glorious.